We're going to learn how to buy a house in 5 steps. So the first is you're going to get pre-qualified. Once you're pre-qualified, then you're going to start looking. Once you start looking, you find a house you like, then you're going to make an offer. If you make an offer and it gets accepted, then you are going to be in contract. And finally, the last step is you transfer the title and then you move in. So let's break these down a little more detail. We're going to start with that first one of getting pre-qualified. So the first thing you're going to do when you get pre-qualified is you're going to partner with a mortgage lender. And that could be a mortgage lending company like Rocket Mortgage or Amerisave, or it can be a bank like US Bank, Chase Bank. But whichever mortgage lender or bank you decide to go with, what they're going to do is they are going to be the one who actually buys the house. So when you quote unquote buy a house, really the lender buys the house and then you pay them back on the mortgage loan. So once you partner with a mortgage lender, to do that, what they're going to first look at is going to be 4 basic categories. They're going to look at your income, how much you're willing to put down on your down payment. Again, the minimum for is going to be 5% of the house value, your cash to debt ratio, and then your credit score. And when they tally all those up, they're going to give you kind of a range that they're willing to give you for a mortgage loan. Another thing you're going to want to consider when you're shopping for a house is, are you going to do a solo mortgage? So is it just going to be you on the mortgage, or are you going to have a cosigner, you and somebody else? And if you do cosigner, that actually gives you a larger limit on what type of house you can buy. So the last thing you got to do is figure out your price range. And so you're going to figure out, where does your price range land on a house? And it's going to be, a range of maybe $40,000 to $50,000. So is it more on the high end or low end or more in the middle? And again, you just got to know what your range is so you can start looking for houses in that price range. So after all that, now you are pre-qualified. And for example, let's say in this case, now you partnered with your mortgage lender and they say they will give you a limit on a mortgage from a range of $360,000 to $410,000 on a house. So that's your range. And now you get to the looking stage. So when you start looking for a house, the first thing that you want to do is you want to find or partner with a real estate agent so they can help you out, help you set up tours for houses, helping you out with a lot of different things that you might be a little foggy on. Once you have a real estate agent, then you're going to want to decide what areas that you want to look in. So if you live in Oregon, for instance, let's say you're looking in Portland area, maybe you're looking Bend, and maybe you even could look in the Washington, Vancouver area, or maybe even as far as Seattle. So once you have your agent and you have your areas, now you can start looking for houses on housing apps. And that, the best and most famous housing apps are going to be Zillow and Redfin are the two most popular. So you can start looking for houses on these apps. And then if you find one you like, your real estate agent can actually set up tours for you to go on a home tour or an open house. And then you can actually go inside and look at the houses and see if you like them or not. So let's say you go on a home tour and you really like a house and you're like, this is the one right here. This is the house that we want. And now you can actually go to your make an offer stage. So let's say the listing price of the house is $375,000. Usually you want to go a little bit over that depending on market conditions stuff. But let's say you go ahead and offer $390,000. But you don't just get the house based on that, because there's other people competing for it. So what if there's other competing offers in that price range, 395, 385, 397, 385. So let's say there's 5 offers they're kind of considering, or the sellers are considering. Then you go to the stage where they actually will allow you to make a new offer if you want to. So they will tell you there's 4 competing offers and they'll tell the other people the same thing. And then you can re-up. And so you might sit down with your real estate agent, say, we think maybe we need to go higher on this. So let's say you decide that you're going to go with $405,000 on a counter offer. And now all the other people are putting in their counter offers, and then the sellers will get back to your agent and they will say, hey, we are going to pick your house. We think you made the best offer of $405,000. So now they have selected you. And next thing you need to do is you need to actually put down your earnest money deposit to move forward. And so that's going to be 1% of the total house value. So in this case, that would be $4,050. So this is huge because now the law is very much on your side. So now you are considered to be in contract. It's a legal term. And so now it's like you're just a few steps away from actually having the house be your house. So the first thing you're going to want to do is you order a home inspection. And that's when you hire a home inspection company, and they're going to go send somebody to look at everything about this house. And they're going to look, inside, outside. And they really are working for you to tell you if there's any problems with this house. And specifically, you want to make sure there's no major problems that could really devalue the house. So that's what a home inspection is. The second thing that's going to happen is you're going to get a home appraisal. And so a home inspector, they work actually for the buyer. So they work for you. The home appraisal, they don't work for either side. They are a neutral third party, and their goal is to actually value the home. So they're going to give a value on the home, and what they're going to do is they're going to go in like a home inspector, and they're going to look at everything. They're going to look at size and location, the age of the home, what the home's made of, all the different home features, comparable homes, and what their price range is going for, any updates or renovations to the home, what the basic layout of the house is, and then all the local market conditions that are going on. And they're going to put all that together, and then they're going to give you a value for the home. And so let's say they crunch all this together and they say this home's appraisal value is $397,000. And remember, you offered $405,000. So now you enter the stage of counter offers and negotiation. So after the inspection and appraisal, now you have a stage where you can counter offer things. And so if you came in at 405,000, you can come in and say, well, the home appraised lower than expected. The inspector found the furnace is old and the house needs a new roof. So we would like a counter offer of $395,000. And so in this stage, your real estate agent would walk you through a bunch of this stuff, but this is completely legal and the law is very much on your side to give a counteroffer. And now you're in the very last stage here before you own the home where you can decide to finalize or not finalize this deal. So they can take a look at that 395,000 and they can just agree to that, or they can not agree and maybe come up with a counteroffer, or the whole thing could fall apart and then they go back to market. But what will most likely happen is they give a counter to the counter. And let's say that both parties agree to settle on $400,000 final offer for this house and you agree to it. So now you are at the very last stage. The house is pretty much yours. You just got to go through all the legal steps of transferring over the title. So the first part is you're just going to literally do that. You're going to sign and transfer the title of the home. And this also involves a third-party company like WFG National Title, is a very famous title company. And so what you do in this stage is you literally, both parties are going to sign the title to the house. Owner's going to sign it, and then you're going to sign it, and then the title literally transfers from the owner to you. So now you legally own the deed or title to that house. Then you're going to pay the rest of the down payment and closing costs. So you got to fork over some extra money here. So remember, the down payment is going to be whatever you agreed upon with the lender. And so you're going to have to pay that minus the earnest money that you already paid. Remember, you had to pay that $4,050. So that's going to count as part of your down payment. So you just have to pay the rest of it. And then closing costs are a weird thing. Most people don't know about them, but it's always good to know that you have to pay like an extra $10,000 on top of the down payment that are called closing costs, and they go to various things. Some people think it's somewhat of a scam. I kind of do as well, but you still have to pay it anyways, so it's a good thing to know about that. And then finally, after all that, that's the non-fun part. Now you're getting to the fun part. You set the move-in date. So let's say July 23rd. There's your move-in date. So you're going to then, last step, get the keys to your house. And on July 23rd, you're going to move in. But one last thing to consider when you're really seriously looking for a house is going to be the total costs. So you want to make sure you have all the money available that you will need up front and ready so you don't get caught off guard. So first, you ought to remember your down payment, which is going to be 5 to 20% of the home sale. So in this case, this was $400,000 house. So 5% would be $20,000 and 20% would be $80,000. And the down payment is what you and the lender decide on. And again, most first-time home buyers go closer to the 5%. The other thing that you have to consider, and this is what catches most people off guard, most people know about the down payment, but there is the closing costs, which are usually around $10,000. Sometimes it will be more, sometimes a little less, but that's a good number to have in mind, is you're going to have around $10,000 extra on top of the down payment for these closing costs. Then you also have to pay for the home inspection, which depending on the company usually ranges around $500 to $1,000 depending on what the company charges. And then the same thing for a home appraisal. Usually you're going to have to pay around $500 to $1,000 for the home appraisal. And so those are the four things that you really need to consider when buying a house and having the money up front. So you're just going to think the minimum money needed. So let's think you're a first-time home buyer. So we're going to go with the minimum on all these. So we're going to go with the 5%. So you need $20,000 plus the 10,000, and let's say the companies are on the cheaper side, so you go 500 for the inspection, 500 for the appraisal, you add all those up. So the minimum money that you'll need upfront for your first house is going to be around $31,000 if the house is a $400,000. And one thing to note is that you actually do not pay your real estate agent. The seller is actually the one who pays both for their agent and for the buyer's agent. So that's something a lot of people don't know, but it's good to know that you actually don't pay the agent, the seller does. So that's what you really need and what you need to consider when thinking of total costs. So I hope this video helped to explain everything you need to know about the basics of buying a house and what you'll need. Best of luck on buying your first house, and have a nice day.